often we find it so very difficult to admit that we're vulnerable. But God says, you're all vulnerable, and I know that. But I won't walk away from you, and I still need you. I'll take care of it. Can you hear the good Lord whispering that to you today? Judges chapter 6, verse 15 is a very interesting verse in a very interesting book of the Bible. It says, my family is weakest, and I am the least in my family. Can you imagine being in that circumstance? This statement comes to us as a part of an epic story of conquest from the settlement period of Israel's history, maybe 750 years before the time of Jesus. It's part of an inspired tradition in which the stories really are all about God rescuing God's people, God delivering God's people. When I was a little kid, my cousin Richard and I loved to read Superman comic books. Yes, comic books. Does anyone still know what those are? They cost 10 cents. When they went up to 12 cents, my cousin Richard and I panicked. After we finished reading them, we loaded them into his little red wagon and took them down to the corner of our street and sold them to people for a nickel so we wouldn't run short and could buy more. We loved to read stories about Superman because he seemed all-powerful. He seemed not to have any vulnerabilities, which, of course, we soon discovered was not the case. Kryptonite could get him every single time. Judges chapter 6, verse 15. My family is the weakest, and I am the least in my family. A statement made by Gideon, who was victorious and who God used to rule others. A person who made a big, big difference. Not because he didn't have any vulnerabilities. No, he did have vulnerabilities. But the good Lord worked through that, around it, under it, over it. The same is true for you and for me. Today, I want you to listen hard for God's voice. I know that you have vulnerabilities. I don't care if your family is weak. I don't care if you're the least in your family. I have a plan. I have something in mind, and I promise I'm going to use you to get it done. That's what grace to go looks like, you know.